Just wanted to say, hey, live stream didn't really work very well, so we're going to try a different format. But we'll probably just have to post passive videos for now. The connection's not really that good in the Ward Wood Shop. So without further ado, this is going to be a shop tour of BearClaw Custom Carpentry. With that said, let's get to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the heart of the shop over here. This is my tool chest. This is where I store my wrenches, my cordless tools, my threaders, my taps, most of my fabrication tools, anything that has to do with fixing, making, or working on machines themselves. Also, this is where I store my oils for lubricating, my machines, and other mechanical tools and equipment. So again, this is probably one of the heart of the shop when it comes to mechanical components. The next part here is my drill press and hardware cabinet. On the back side, if you can see, there is a York bench vise that I use for, metal vise I use for metalworking and, other things that I need clamping about at chest height. So again, it's a nice convenient vise because everything is up top. I don't need to be sitting down to work on stuff. Again, on the bottom, that's where I store all my screws and bolts and miscellaneous hardware that I use for fabrication and woodworking projects around the shop, along with machine repair itself. Let's move on to the drafting table. So this is my drafting table. This is where I do all my drawings. Again, I'm more of a hands-on kind of drawing kind of guy. So most of my drawings for my projects, whether it be furniture, cabinets, tables, wine stoppers, they're all drawn here by pen and paper. Underneath, I wanted to point out, this is where I charge most of my batteries as well. This is for most of my cordless tools. I like to stick with one platform because it makes it easy so that I can change out batteries between tools that I'm using. My platform I like to work with is Milwaukee. Again, it's just well built, and I just like the ergonomics with my hands. With that said, over on this side over here is where I have some of my cutoff storage. And what I like to do is I like to store my pieces vertical so that when I look into there, I can easily see the species or the size of the wood I'm looking for. Up top is also where I store some of my other cutoffs as well. Again, you can never have enough scrap wood. So we're going to move on over to the tool rack where I have all my easy access along with the workbench. So this area over here is my tool rack. Again, this is everything I want that's easily accessible, just a quick grab off the shelf kind of stuff. You got your mallets, your hammers, your forging hammers, measurement equipment, calipers, combination squares, speed squares, easy access to universal Phillips and flathead, chisels, nippers, clamps. Again, it's just a quick access station where I can just walk up to the station, grab what I need and go. Again, it's really nice and convenient. One particular one I'm going to cover real quick today is something that we don't have at the Ward Wood Shop, is an Inica ruler. So what's nice about this is that there are laser cut, and I'm going to try to walk in a little bit so you guys can see it, but if you can see through here, there are holes cut at specific increments and measurements, and they go all the way down to 64ths of an inch. So what's nice is I could put a mechanical pencil in that slot and then scribe a line exactly at that measurement. Whereas with a combination square, I have to be a little more accurate in where I place my measurements, right? But again, nothing wrong with this. This is a good way of laying out our joints, and this is how we do it in our shop. But again, I just like the convenience of the Inica ruler. So with that said, we're going to now go to the workbench. So what's nice about this workbench is this is where I do most of my woodworking, most of my hand planing, small cuts. All my hand tools are easily accessible to me, so I got my block planes, my bench planes, electrical tools that I need for circuit testing. I got my jigsaw, my Dremel, sanders, corded drills, all that stuff is easy access close by. The other thing I like to keep by is my Balador grinder. And what's nice about it is it's portable, so I can drop it into the table and then clamp it. And I can use this to sharpen my lathe tools, my planer blades, my joiner blades, chisels, knives, and so on and so forth. So it's a very handy thing to have. Again, I really strongly suggest if you have a home shop, you should get one of these in some capacity, because something is better than nothing. Now, what I really like about this workbench is on the end here I have a Wilton combination vise, and what's nice about it is I have a woodworking vise here with soft jaws. But if I wanted to do, say, metalworking or soldering or anything like that, I have this metalworking vise on the other side with a pipe clamp as well. So again, it serves multiple functions that I can do in one space instead of having two clamps taking up the same real estate on this workbench. I can use one to do two tasks. So again, the more tasks you can have a piece of equipment do, the more valuable it will be in your shop. Alright, so coming to the other drill press in my shop, this is a Delta Milwaukee drill press. What I like about this is that the spindle run out. So what that means is how accurately it spins straight in one space is a lot higher than the other drill press we covered so far. So what's nice is that when I'm drilling with this, I'll have an accurate hole up to, I think it's 5 thou or 5 thousandths of an inch when it comes to the drill bit drift. All right, so I normally use this for my metalworking and my fabrication of any of my hard metals like steel or working with brass or copper, and then I'll mostly save some of my less important holes to be drilled on the other drill press on the other side of the shop. The other thing is, this is where I store most of my timbers that are too big to go underneath the workbenches and too heavy to go on top of the scrap pile. It's just a nice, easy place to put my wood for the shop itself. So that covers this half of the shop. Now we're going to move to the heart of the machines. So I'm going to move you guys back and I'm going to pull out some of the machines on casters and show you what's going on. So this is the heart of the shop. This is Atlas. It is my table saw and router table combo. What's nice is I have it on casters so I can wheel the whole rig around, along with storage for router table, table saw, and bandsaw components. All right? So I'm going to wheel out of the way to show you guys some other stuff. So let me just put this off to the side. My goal, though, is later this week I'd like to go more into depth into Atlas itself, the pros of getting to use table saw, and some of the tips and tricks I use for setting it up and upgrades to make a used table saw work more for you. All right. Now the other machines I have are my Rockwell Delta lathe. One thing you guys will notice compared to the other shop that we work at is I've actually made a rack for my lathe tools, so I have a quick access to all of my tools without having to really go too far to get it. The other thing I have is my 2011 Delta bandsaw. Again, I use this for anything when it comes to cutting curve cuts, resawing, cutting logs. Specifically, the one thing it's most used for is sawing logs that are too big for my fireplace, because again, I heat my house with wood. Finally, over here, the other thing that's on wheels that I got is my Ryobi surface planer. It is a 10-inch, but again, it gets the job done. With that said, what is also important in a shop is dust collection. So this is my Penn State Industries heavy-duty dust collector with a chip separator attached. So what's nice about the chip separator is I can plug this hose up, or I can use it as a vacuum, collect heavy-duty chips, sawdust, or anything off the floor. It'll come into this inlet hose and drop into the barrel here. And the only thing that'll come on this outlet of the hose here is the fine dust. And what's nice is that protects the impeller motor and the fin in there from getting broken or mangled or anything like that. Because again, it used to be run as you would just collect the dust through this, and anything that goes up the tube would hit the impeller motor and the fan blades, and they get dropped into these filter bags. But now they're both being used as just filters. And then when it comes to cleaning, I only have to dump out the very, very, very fine dust for these filter bags, whereas the bulk of my material is dropped into this trash can here, which I can take out with a trash bag, take it to the incinerator dump station, and be done with it. So again, it's just a very quick and convenient way to collect all my dust. It's not the same as the one at school, but it is better than nothing. So again, having dust collection capabilities is really important in the wood shop, especially when you're in an indoor space like this. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to rotate to the last part of the shop, and then cover some shop questions you guys had posted for the live stream itself. So let's take a look. So over here is the other half of my shop, where I store most of my sheet goods. So back here is where I store all of my plywood and glued up panels, because again, it's a nice convenient place to store. I have my Harbor Freight air compressor. Below it I have my wire feed welder, TIG welder, and my stick welder, which some of the videos I'd like to post in the future is, how to pick up welding, with little to no experience. Behind the air compressor, I do have a reservoir tank, which again, what's nice about this is I can fill it up and use it for air tools that are very air hungry, like pneumatic hammers, air grinders, and air drills. Again, this allows me to run more air hungry tools without having to hurt or put too much strain on the smaller compressor. Down over here, I have my 100-pound anvil. Again, I use it just for cold forging. There is no forging going on in here because I don't have a forge, so something to get in the future. And then finally is one of the more important tools that I have is my jointer. So again, just like the wood shop, I can use this to square edges, square up stock, work on legs, do tapering. So this is a very important tool that I really value in the shop here. What I'm going to do right now is we're going to just quickly cover some questions you had and then just end the video. So some questions you guys had were, what do I do to do some of the same stuff we do in the wood shop? All right, well, limitation-wise, the only limitation is the planer. It's only 10 inches, and the smallest one we have at the shop is about 12, so it is a limiting factor. There are techniques, which we will cover, that allow you to basically make a tabletop with a smaller smaller planer. Besides that, the other thing I don't have the same capabilities is the panel saw. When it comes to sheet goods, I will normally pre-cut that stuff at the home goods store, whether it be Lowe's or Home Depot, and then do more of the fine-tune work here on Atlas. Because again, it is less cumbersome, it's a lot safer when you're working with smaller goods. What you guys are going to do is Thursday, we're going to do a video on Atlas. What I'd like you guys to do is post beforehand what kind of questions you have on making or buying or tuning a table saw itself, and any additional shop questions. Again, I apologize for the live stream failing, mostly because there are just bad connections in my shop. So with that said,